Hello, all, and welcome to Wake Up with Marci. It is time to be inspired, empowered, and learn to live our happiest lives. We meet author Nubia DuVall Wilson, sharing about PTSD and sexual abuse. She is the author of The Survivors Club, founder and president of Cielo Consulting, and co-founder of Starfury Productions. Hello, Nubia. Welcome to Wake Up with Marci.
Hi, Marci. Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you. So I want to talk about the Survivors Club, which you sent me and I read. Wow. Very impactful. So why don't you share with us about the book and your mission behind it?
Sure. Yeah. So, wow, I wrote the Survivors Club many years ago before I really knew what that story was about. I've always been a writer, loved writing short stories and poetry as a child up into adulthood. And so I wrote this short story and I just put it away. And then in the summer of 2016, I was raising my 3-year-old daughter and my son, who's 2. My kids are 15 months apart. You can imagine how much fun that's been. And while watching them play, all of a sudden, repressed memories of my childhood abuse, sexual abuse, started to come up. And which you can imagine was quite surprising and quite traumatic. And so 2 years, well, actually within that year, I came across this short story and I'd called it something else. And when I read it, I was like, oh my goodness, this story is trying to tell me something. So the book is about 5 strangers who are stuck in a room. They wake up and they're in the room. They don't know how they got there. And they each are mysteriously plucked from this room by an unknown force to take over the life of a boy named Quentin. I expanded on this story and I put it out in 2018 to create a platform to talk about survivorship, surviving sexual abuse, PTSD, and the long-term effects of what survivors deal with.
So it's, first of all, incredible that you had suppressed that for so many years. Mm-hmm. And obviously, those memories were trying to come out, and then to be playing with your children.
Yeah.
And then that starts coming to light for you, and how disturbing and upsetting and like, what do I do with this? Where is this coming from? Mm-hmm. Right? So, now you have gotten through this and well, you will continue, but you're now a survivor. You are every day working to get through it, but now you have made it your mission to help other people. Mm-hmm. Tell me truly, how are you helping and what are you doing to make the difference for those that have also been sexually abused?
That's a great question. Thank you. So one is being unapologetically open about what this is like. Being a survivor impacts all parts of your life. If you're a professional, if you are a wife or a partner to someone, if you're a parent. And so as a writer, I love to create content. So on my website, nubiaduvall.com, I blog a lot about how PTSD impacts every day and what I've learned from it and how I can overcome it. I do things like this, go and speak. Before COVID, I was doing it in person, and it's great to be able to do it virtually as well. I talk a lot about survivorship on social media as well. And for me, it's not just speaking to fellow survivors, but also speaking to the community at large. 92 seconds an American is sexually assaulted in this country, which is, when you hear that statistic, it's crazy, right? You can't even imagine. 1 out of 10 children will be sexually abused by the time they're 18 in America. So when I say those statistics, people are surprised. And what I say is, more likely than not, you're working with someone who's a survivor. Someone in your family is, or maybe your boss is, right? And if the community can understand how to support survivors, I think we'll be in a much better place. We're getting there when it comes to understanding mental health and how to support those who do have challenges with their mental health. I mean, I think everybody in the past year can say that that's something that they're all working on. But like there are different triggers that happen to you in your daily life when you're a survivor. I mean, it was hard to even just be around my kids and be a mom and be around my husband.
It's very hard to understand sexual abuse and survivors, because I too am a sexual abuse survivor. And, there's so many ways that this changes you. And, if you have the mental issues, or you have, addiction issues, if you have PTSD, if you have an eating disorder, a lot of times these things can be stemmed from sexual abuse. I would love for you to share some tips how you've dealt with the PTSD.
Yeah, sure. So I've learned to take what some might say would be a weakness or a struggle and turn it into a superpower. For example, I've always been an anxious person. I never really understood why. And I took it upon myself to actually go to therapy after I had my first child during maternity leave, because I knew that when I went back to work, I would be even more anxious and wanting to, succeed. So with that said, I've learned how to understand my anxiety and problem solve about it. Right? Well, okay, why am I feeling anxious? What is that signaling to me? And that allows me to think ahead, and it allows me to feel safe. And safety and anxiety go hand in hand quite often. If you don't feel safe, you feel anxious. You need to take that power back. Survivors tend to be intuitive to other people's needs. It's part of our ability to cope, right? We want to be able to please and to know that what we're doing is making the other person feel okay, right? So that hypersensitivity can be a superpower. Many of my team members, I go, how do you always know that I'm in a bad mood or that I'm not feeling well today?
Right. It does. You are more connected and have empathy for other people. That is for sure. So I wanted to just say, also congratulations on your success. I mean, you have Cielo Consulting. You're helping others to thrive and make it in their own businesses and in their success. So, and also parenting, like, to get through the PTSD and now be an incredible parent and also an author. So I know your plate is full, but you've managed to learn to balance these things. And I wanted to bring up also another book that you have, Encounters with Strangers. This is a really fun book that you did, stories of people all over New York City. How fun is that?
Yes. So like I said, I've always been a writer, and terribly like an overachiever to like the ridiculous, level where when I turned 30, which was a long time ago, but I freaked out. I was like, what have I done with my life? I don't think I've done anything. And so I said, I want to publish a book. And you know how hard it is to get published. So I self-published Encounters with Strangers, and it was based on my blog. I had a blog from 2006 onward about all the crazy things that happen to you when you live in New York City, right? I mean, once a day, something crazy is going to happen. I said, someone has to record all of this, especially on the subway. So that's what I did. And that book is a compilation of those stories along with my travels. I lived in Taiwan for 2 years after college, and that was an amazing time. And learned Mandarin and made a lot of great friends. And then I traveled for work quite a bit.
Yeah.
So,
it's amazing all that you have done. And I just want to also say, you are trying to make a movie out of the Survivors Club right now. So I think that's going to bring a lot more awareness to sexual abuse and sexual assault. So thank you for that.
thank you.
So how can we find you?
So yes, I am at NubiaDuVall.com. That's where I create a lot of my blog posts, social media content, and then also Starfury Productions. That's the name of the production company that I launched. And in addition to turning my book, my novella, into something on the big screen, my partners and I are now helping other content creators get their TV and films out there, especially those who are from marginalized communities. So that's starfuryproductions.com.
That's amazing. Well, thank you again, Nubia. Thank you for coming on and sharing your beautiful story and helping others.
Thank you so much.